Welcome to Honeybee. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. My na is Oli. If you had asked me a few years back, I would have said I was a fortunate man. I lived a simple but fulfilling life, a steady job, a roof over my head, and most importantly, a wife I adored. I worked 2 jobs, not out of necessity, but because I wanted to. I believed in hard work, saving for the future, and building a life for us. It was exhausting, but I never complained. I was doing it for us, for the future we were supposed to share. We lived in a modest yet cozy home. Nothing extravagant, but enough for us. I thought I had everything a man could ever want. A wife who smiled at me, like I was the center of her universe. Someone who waited for me to come home after a long shift. A partner who texted me during the day, saying she missed me, telling me to take care, reminding me she loved me. And I believed her. I trusted her completely. When you truly love someone, you don't question them. You don't sit there wondering if they're lying or hiding something. You just believe, and that's exactly what I did. I believed every word, every smile, every I love you. But not everything is as it appears. Love can blind you, and I was no exception. I thought my marriage was perfect. I thought my wife was faithful. But the truth was something else entirely. And one day, I woke up to reality I never imagined. It was just another evening. I had come home after a long day of work, my body aching from another endless shift. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the neighborhood. I was looking forward to a shower, a warm meal, and maybe a few hours of sleep before my next shift. That's when my neighbor called out to me. Now, let me make something clear. I was never close with my neighbors. Sure, we exchanged polite nods. A quick, how's it going, here and there, but that was it. No deep talks, no friendships, just the casual acknowledgement you give to people living near you. So when this older man, probably in his late 50s, the type who always sat on his porch, watching the street, motioned for me to come over, I wasn't sure what to expect. I walked up to him, wiping sweat from my forehead. He looked uneasy, his eyes scanning the street, as if to make sure no one was listening. Hey, I don't want to stir up trouble, he began, shifting in his chair. Maybe it's none of my business, but I've noticed something. He hesitated before saying it. Your wife, she's been bringing a man home. When you're at work. I blinked, then let out a short laugh, more out of disbelief than humor. A man, I repeated, shaking my head. No, if she brought someone home, it's probably just a cousin or a friend. But he didn't laugh. He didn't even smile. He just gave me this look, calm, certain. I don't think so, he said quietly. I've seen him a few times. Always the same man, and always when you're not around. I stood there, feeling the air grow heavier around me. For a moment, I almost let his words sink in. Almost. But no, this was ridiculous. My wife, the woman who sent me messages throughout the day, the woman who kissed me every morning before I left for work, she wouldn't do something like that. I forced a chuckle and waved him off. Thanks for the concern, I said, but you must be mistaken. He paused, like he wanted to say more, then gave a slow nod. All right, he said softly. Maybe I am. I walked away, shaking my head, trying to clear the thought. But that night, as I lay in bed, his words replayed in my head, over and over. No matter how hard I tried to push them away, they stayed. I told myself there had to be an innocent explanation. Maybe it was a relative, a friend, someone completely harmless. But even as I tried convincing myself, the doubt refused to leave me. I needed to know, not because I believed she was guilty, but because I wanted proof that she wasn't. The next day, while she was out running errands, I set up tiny cameras with memory cards to record. I didn't want to spend much money, just enough to cover the few places she wouldn't notice. My hands trembled as I adjusted the last one. I hated that it had come to this, but I told myself it was necessary. If she wasn't doing anything wrong, then no harm done. And if she was, then I needed to know. Days passed before I finally checked the recordings. By then, I had almost convinced myself I wouldn't find anything, that I had let a stranger's warning shake me for no reason. I sat down at my laptop and opened the files. The first few days were uneventful. Just my wife cooking, watching TV, moving through the house. Nothing suspicious. Nothing unusual. I felt relief wash over me. I should delete these and move on. But I kept watching. That's when I saw it. My wife, standing in our living room, smiling as she poured 2 glasses of wine. A man I had never seen before walked in. He wasn't family. He wasn't a friend. He was a stranger. The way she greeted him told me everything I needed to know. They were comfortable. Too comfortable. I kept watching, frozen, as they sat together on the couch. He leaned in, kissed her, slid an arm around her waist. My chest tightened. Then they stood, holding hands, and went upstairs to our bedroom. I could barely breathe as I watched them disappear into the room I had shared with her for years. Minutes later, he walked back out, wearing my bathrobe, the one I used every morning. I had to pause the video, close my eyes, just to breathe. I sat there for a long time, feeling nothing but emptiness. I could have confronted her. I could have demanded to know why, but I didn't, because I knew exactly how it would play out. She would cry, lie, make excuses, maybe even blame me. No, I wouldn't give her that chance. I wouldn't give her any reaction at all. Instead, I made a decision not to fight, not to argue, not to let her know I knew. I would leave, and this time, I would do it right. No loose ends, no trail to follow. The first thing I did was start saving every extra penny. I already handled our finances, so moving money around wouldn't look suspicious. I tightened my spending, skipped unnecessary purchases, and slowly stashed away what I could. Then I opened a private account with a global payment service. I transferred small amounts, a few hundred here and there, so she wouldn't notice. Bit by bit, I moved my share of our savings to that account. Next came the credit cards. We shared a few, and I had to cut that link. I told her I was switching banks to consolidate our accounts. She barely paid attention as long as she could access her money. She didn't care. One by one, I shut them down. Then came my jobs. I resigned quietly, on good terms, so no one would have a reason to track me later. I told my boss I had a new opportunity in another city. My co-workers wished me well. No one knew that once I left, I'd never be back. Through it all, my wife stayed oblivious, still bringing him into our home, still using our bed. The night before I left, I sat in our living room. One last time, I looked around, taking in every detail. This wasn't my home anymore. It was just the place where I had been betrayed. I took off my wedding ring, that simple band that had once symbolized love, trust, and a promise broken. I rolled it between my fingers before discarding it. I didn't need it where I was going. At 4:30 a.m., I stood at the front door, bag slung over my shoulder. No hesitation, no second thoughts. I turned the handle, stepped outside, and let the door click shut behind me. I didn't look back, not even once. By the time the sun rose, I was already gone. I later learned how she found out. She must have woken up that morning, expecting to see me next to her, but the bed was empty. At first, she probably thought nothing of it, but when she couldn't find me, the panic must have crept in. She walked through the house, calling my name, growing frantic. When there was no reply, she checked every room. My things were gone. My boots, my jacket, even the spot where my keys usually sat. All empty. She called my phone, straight to voicemail. She called again. Nothing. Finally, she called my work, only to be told I had quit the week before. That's when she must have realized. I hadn't just left. I had vanished. Then came the final blow. She went to the bank and found our account empty. Only then did it hit her. I hadn't just walked away. I had erased myself completely. I heard she hired a private investigator, spent money she probably couldn't spare, desperately trying to find me. But the harder she searched, the more she discovered just how carefully I had planned my exit. And as time passed, I heard regret consumed her, but it was too late. There was no forgiveness left to give. While she searched, I had already started over. I moved far away, to an island in the Caribbean. No one knew me. Life there was quiet, peaceful. At first, I lived alone. Solitude became my friend. But eventually, I met someone new. She was kind, genuine, and respected me for who I was. With her, I discovered what real love was supposed to feel like. Simple, honest, without secrets. We built a new life together. When our daughter was born, I knew I had made the right choice. This was the family I was meant to have. Years passed before she found me. I wasn't really hiding anymore. I had simply moved on. My life here had become everything my old life wasn't. Peaceful, honest, free, until one day, my past caught up with me. I didn't see her first. She saw me. Somehow, after all these years, she found me. I was at the market, my daughter's small hand in mine, as she pointed excitedly at something. And then I felt her eyes on me. She must have just stood there, watching, trying to process what she was seeing. Maybe she expected to find me broken, still bitter, still carrying the weight of what she did. But instead, she found me whole, happy, completely untouched by the pain she left behind. She took a step forward, lips parting, but no words came out. She whispered my name, a plea, a desperate attempt to reach the man I once was. But that man was gone. I tilted my head, studying her, like she was just another stranger, because that's exactly what she was. She searched my face, looking for something, anything, that showed I still cared. But all she saw was emptiness. After a moment, I finally spoke. "I'm sorry, do I know you?" The words hit her harder than any scream or accusation could. Her eyes filled with defeat. I didn't wait for her to respond. I didn't give her a chance to cry, to beg, to explain. I simply turned, took my daughter's hand, and walked away. And I never looked back. For the first time, I felt nothing but peace. The kind of peace that comes when you realize the past no longer holds power over you. There was a time I thought I'd never heal, that her betrayal would haunt me forever. But now I know some betrayals aren't meant to be forgiven, only forgotten.